So in this week's webinar, I wanted to talk about how you can use Google Scripts to basically automate some of your life and save you some time in the classroom. So there are a lot of different scripts that we can look at within Google Drive, but Doctopus is by far the standard. It is very, very easy to use, and it basically acts as a photocopier for Google Drive. So the first step for this one is to create a folder or just a document that you want to share with your class, and then you can use Doctopus to push it out to your students' Google Drive accounts. And then it also lets you do what's called embargo, which shuts the editing rights off when the assignment has been due. So say you have a folder of resources on a Civil War project and you want all of your students to have a copy of it, you can run Doctopus to push a copy out into their folders on their Google Drive. It'll rename that folder to match their username and then give them editing rights to it. Then when the due date for the Civil Rights Project comes, you can embargo it, close it out from editing, and you no longer have to worry about kids editing the document after the due date. So as an example, this is what Doctopus would look like. You basically use a spreadsheet to include the student's first name, last name, their block, and then their email address. And then you'll see over here is a link to the actual document within your Google Drive, and it also gives you when it was edited. Then when you look at your actual Google Drive, you'll see that within your folder for Avid 1314 and the assignment folder, which is where you've told it to go, you have all of your student assignments, and they are all named in the same format. So you no longer have to look at a bunch of assignments and then try and figure out whose assignment is which, because Doctopus takes care of it for you. They also do folder creation, so if you're looking at just simply pushing out an empty folder to your students for them to put all their documents into for your class, then you can do that as well, all right within Doctopus. The second one is Goobrick, and it builds off of Doctopus, and it adds rubric functionality to your Doctopus. So the key thing with Goobrick is that it's actually an extension within Google Chrome. So once you install Doctopus into your Google Drive, into your document, then you can use the Goobrick extension in Chrome to give you rubric access for documents. So as a teacher, you would come in and look at the document that you pushed to them through Doctopus. You would click on the Goobrick icon in Google Chrome, and then it would pop up this window that you see here. And this window, basically, you come in and you would go click, 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 click. It would automatically calculate what the grade should be for each one of those. You can then type in your comments that you have for their assignment, have the rubric emailed to the student, and then submit and paste into the document. And what's nice about this is that if you have a student rewrite a paper multiple times, it will take this rubric and paste it at the end of the document, and each time that they redo their work and each time that you regrade it. So if you do it once and they do really bad on their writing and you want them to redo it, then they can redo it. You do it again, and it will show them what kind of improvements that effort gave them, which can be really handy. The Doctopus document will then keep track of what the grade was that they received through the Goobrick and make sure that the Goobrick grade is the most up-to-date and the highest grade that they got. So if they redid it and they didn't redo it for the better, then that would mean that it would only show their highest grade, not their latest submission, but their highest grade in the Doctopus spreadsheet. Flubaroo is another one that is extremely popular in the classroom, and I love saying the name, obviously, but the general gist is that if you are someone who uses Google Forms to automatically grade or to do assignments, Flubaroo will give you the ability to automatically grade those assignments right within a spreadsheet. Now Flubaroo is a tool that is only performed once, so you don't do it. It doesn't do it every single time that a kid does a submission. So it won't give you an automatic grade, and once they submit it, you have to go in and run Flubaroo, and then it will grade all the submissions. So you only do this once the assignment is due and they can't do it anymore. It will then email all the scores to the students, and then within the form that you see here at the bottom, it gives you a lot of statistics on that submission. So the summary at the top that breaks down how many points they could have taken, what are the average number of points, how many submissions did you have, who scored really low on their questions, or which questions scored really low as a class average. So for example, these two questions, they both on average were really bad questions for the students. They didn't do well on them. So either you look at them as a teacher as being poorly worded questions, maybe they didn't understand them correctly, or these are both areas that they struggled with this assignment. It then gives you how many points that they earned, what their score was, and then it red flags any students who got scores below a 50 or below, I believe, although you might be able to change that. There's then a second tab within the Flubaroo spreadsheet document that gives you what exactly every student answered. So if you want to see why Ralph did as badly, beyond the fact that he seemingly didn't answer any questions at all, you can then see his result and double check things that way. So it's a really great tool, and if you do a lot of assessments in your classes, this will give you a really quick and easy way of judging which questions, as I said, worked or didn't work for your students, so that way you don't spend a lot of time reviewing material that they already know. Autocrat is like document merging. If you ever did address labels back in the day on Microsoft Word, where you had little fields that you filled in with people's name and address and all that sort of stuff, if you ever did mass mailings, then Autocrat does that within Google Drive. So basically you take a form that spits the document or the information to a spreadsheet, and then Autocrat will use it to fill in a Google document tags, all the little tags in the document based on what tags that you have in the spreadsheet, and then it will spit out a Google Doc and a PDF. I have a teacher at the high school who is using this for testing related materials. So she fills in the Google form when she's doing a test with a student. The spreadsheet fills in information here, and then she uses Autocrat to autofill a lot of fields in a pre-formatted report template. So that way the only thing that she's left to do is go in and add her own comments into the document, and everything follows the same format then. There's no tweaking involved, and she doesn't have to do edit, find, replace, and all that sort of stuff, which just took forever. And you don't have to email it. That's just an option. So if you're worried about privacy sort of stuff, you don't have to worry about the email option. The other one is GClass Folders. This one is sort of outdated based on Doctopus, but there are still people that use it. Basically, it's used to create folders for each of your students in your class. So looking at this, basically as a teacher, I could push out assignment folders to each one of the kids in my class. They are all following the same naming schematic. So again, I don't have to try and dig through my Google Drive to try and find their documents. They are right within the folder that they should be, and it's named correctly. And then each one of these folders is shared just with the student. So all their stuff goes in here, and if they don't share it in here or save it into here, then I'm not going to see it. So it's a good little life lesson thing for them to do. And then there's this folder down here that would be templates that I want to give them. So, or maybe it's a group document that I want the whole class to be providing me some plus delta information on a quiz that we did. And then this one down here is for stuff like handouts. If I always wanted my kids to be able to have access to my syllabus and the handouts that I'm giving in class and everything, then anything that I save into this folder in my own Google Drive would appear in their folder as well. And then obviously the teacher folder doesn't have anyone sharing it, so this is just for my own stuff for English 9. So GClass Folders makes things really easy, but again, this is all built into Doctopus, so if you use Doctopus and get familiar with it, then you can achieve the same thing without having to push out documents. You can just push out folders. Form emailer is basically lets you use a Google form to send emails, which is useful for things like at the middle school level where they don't have access to email anyone outside the Bonnie Eagle address. I use this with a 6th grade teacher for her book review blog. So the students come onto her book review blog and then fill in the form that is located on the blog, and then it will automatically send an email to her blog account as a draft, so it doesn't automatically publish it, but it's all pre-formatted based on what I put for settings in the form emailer, and so it's all nice and standard. And then it also sends it as me, and because I'm a teacher, it gives me the ability to email an outside source. So when she looks at her Google account or at her Blogger account on Google, then it looks like I'm sending a lot of book review blogs on grade 6 reading level books, which is kind of fun. And I should mention all form emailer settings can be formatted with HTML, which is how I was formatting those blog posts for her. Form Ranger does have a lot of applicability to the classroom, and you'll find a lot of people online that use it, but this one basically automatically populates the questions within a form from another spreadsheet. So if you are, for example, looking to gauge the students on what standard are you learning at the moment for this form, then you can have a whole spreadsheet that has just a list of standards in it. Or if you want them to be able to, for example, grade themselves on different items, then you can have a separate spreadsheet that has fields like 0 through 100 or 0 through 4 or exceeds, meets, not meets, all that sort of stuff. And you can have that all in one Google Sheet and then use Form Ranger to pull in from that sheet automatically to save you a little bit of time, so that way you don't have to copy and paste in the answers. And then Form Limiter, I like Form Limiter for things like signing up for different projects that people are doing. So if you use a Google form to do project signups, then you could give them X number of topics that they can choose from, and the first 2 kids that choose Ansel Adams, for example, can do him, but then no one else can do a project on that photographer. So that means that you don't have to look at 18, 20, 25, whatever number of reports on the same topic. You can also limit it to first come, first serve. So if you only wanted each kid to get just one question or one project, then you can do that. Can also use it to limit a certain number of responses. So if you only wanted the first 10 kids to be able to sign up for something, then you can do that. And then you can also have it time out in terms of a time frame. So if you know that you want responses to this form by the end of the day on Friday, then you can use Form Limiter and it will automatically time out, so that way they can't respond after your deadline. It teaches really great responsibility to our kids. And then finally, Appender. I really like this one for professional development, or if you're doing department notes, you can basically use Appender to take the information that's coming out of a Google form and place it at the end of a Google document. So if you have an agenda that you're accomplishing at, for example, a leadership committee, then you can use the Google form to get feedback from the participants, and then it will take that Google form data and append it at the end of the notes from the session. It makes it really easy for referring to later. If you come back to this next year and you really want to see how it went, then you can do that. As a classroom teacher, if you do a lesson and then you want to get their feedback on how the lesson went, maybe what was their favorite part, what was their least favorite part, what do you think could have gone better, what do you wish that I did different, whatever. You can use Appender to take that Google form data and input it right at the end of your lesson notes, so that way when you do this lesson again next year, you can automatically pull that up and know what to do. So those are the top 10 Google scripts that are used in education. Now, they are very easy to use because you can now, with the use of the add-ons available in Google Documents and within the new version of Sheets, you can easily use a lot of these scripts that I've talked about. So from the add-ons menu, you would just click on Get Add-ons, and then the add-ons that are available at the moment, which this list is increasing daily, are all available down here. And so you can add on, for example, Lucidchart is a mind mapping tool. So if I come in, I can insert a diagram from Lucidchart right within Google Drive. It makes it super easy to add some increased functionality into my document. But then a lot of the tools that we have, such as Flubaroo, are within the spreadsheet view. So if you wanted to use Flubaroo, or if you wanted to look into it more, then it would give you a YouTube video here that you can check out, as well as directions on how to use it. And you would just click on the Add button and it would pop it into your Google Drive. All of these tools are pretty well documented within upd.org. This is where I go if I ever want to learn how to script something for a teacher or help them accomplish what they're looking to do. A lot of really, really smart people here. So you can look for example, Doctopus. And if you come to the Doctopus page on UPD, then let's see. Of course, I'm not finding it right off the bat, but so for example, Autocrat is another one that I've used. So I can find the Autocrat page on here and it will walk me through how to use it, give me step-by-step solutions. Give me some comments down here that maybe if there's something that's not running right for me, then I can look for it there. So this is a really great community of like-minded individuals who are looking to do more with Google Apps for Education, or GAF as we call it. So if you want to learn more about Google Scripts, or if you'd like more assistance with stuff, you can come here. But then you can also obviously just get in touch with me and set up an office hours appointment, and we can sit down and go